Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Why is my mic acting so weird? Maybe that's why.
Too much traveling.
Yeah, right. Welcome back, everybody. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Got another epic show for you guys, chatting about this past weekend's events down on the old Dale Hollow Lake. This is why. Is that better? No, that's worse.
No.
I don't get it. What'd you guys do to my mic this past weekend?
Nothing. Like,
Well, we'll see about that.
how many switches you got on the side? Is it like 2 or 3?
2.
So you got omnidirectional, and you probably got. Well, I forgot the other one.
Just the 2, but
yeah.
Regardless, Jay Randall, it was good to see you last weekend.
You too. You too.
Wow, that's it. That's all you got. Jeez.
What do you want, man? Do you want me to get all emotional? Oh, I miss you guys so much.
Yeah.
I look forward to that, dude, for a while. It was actually great seeing everybody.
Yeah.
It was fun. Because I don't have any friends here.
We got Jesse England in the chat. He said, what a weekend. Thank you all for what you've done over the past 3 years. Awesome event for sure. No problem, man. Thanks for showing up. I know the whole England family showed out pretty well. It was great to see all you guys again. And it's always nice to see old faces along with new faces every year. So, and congrats to Jesse as well. I think he took 4th. Jesse took 4th. So congrats to you, man, on a great day on the water. Can't beat that with a stick, you know. And that's the thing too, I'm sure we'll get into is a lot of people caught a lot of great fish this past weekend.
Yeah, a lot bigger than the ones I caught. Definitely.
I mean, to each their own.
I'll be catching, man. I was having a good time, right?
Right. I was right there with you, man. I wasn't crushing it by any means, but
yeah.
We were catching.
Just
might have not been
true.
Giants, but we were catching.
Yeah,
that's
true.
all that matters, you know.
Yeah, and plus like the location. I mean, come on. I mean, it's great over there.
Yeah, and huge shout out to Richard, Wendy, Sam, Nathan, his wife. I mean, the whole crew at East Port Marina. I mean, that's the big component, right? That makes that event so great is, you know, the way they treat us, the venue that they give us to use for that, all the extra work that Richard and the whole crew did. Which we'll get into more, but huge thank you to them. And if you're in Tennessee, I know there's going to be a article in the newspaper coming up. I've been chatting with Richard about that, getting him photos and things like that. So that's super cool too, man. Get some local exposure there for the event and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh. Vegas line on the number of times Randall speaks is plus 450.
That's cool. I don't even know what that means.
Get your bets in at Vegas. Vegas line.
There you go.
But we do have an epic guest in the house back by popular demand.
Who's demand?
What's wrong, Jay? You could share your story.
No, I'm not telling this story.
Oh yeah, we're telling this story,
dude. I will hang up.
There was some shenanigans between these.
I will hang up, dude. I don't know.
But huge thank you to this gentleman as well, Mr. Thomas Langton from Tightline Anchor. Welcome back, sir. It's good to see you as always. Huge thank you for yours and Tightline Anchor support this past weekend, man. It was pretty cool to see what you guys did as well. Showed up, let some guys demo some anchors, gave some anchors away, and was just a huge part of the event, man. It was great to have you there.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, and Jay, Mr. Randall,
and Jay,
whatever. He's got a decent looking truck, so Yeah, he gets that. Awesome event, venue, unbelievable. Brian, when you suggested maybe should get involved and come down, you weren't wrong. It was just leave you speechless in the morning when you're at the marina having breakfast. Go out for I went out for a walk on the docks and took some pictures, and it was just like, man, it's just like you can hear a pin drop. And there's a lot going on, but you can hear a pin drop. It was just great. Fog off the water, just like postcard shots everywhere. It was truly unbelievable. And the whole East Port Marina crowd, the unbelievable hosts. Nothing was a problem, nothing at all. And you were right. That's the place to go if anybody's thinking about next year. They want to make one big trip as opposed to some smaller trips. You've got to go to Eastport. You've got to go just for a vacation. Even if you just casually fish and don't, you're a competitive angler, but you just want to casually fish or just go and see the waterway. If you've never been on it, I highly recommend it.
Heck yeah. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the first kayak fishing event you attended, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I know you're not, a huge competitive guy and stuff like that. That's more of your business partner, G, but, when he's not hurt. So
that's a whole other story.
But,
I think I've taken over that.
Yeah.
I've taken over that charge.
Oh, we'll get into that. We'll get into.
Yeah, he handed the baton to me this week. The problem is I can't even pick it up. And we'll get to that. But no, just if anybody's thinking about going down there, it's just and Brian said it's a magical place, and I grew up in Canada, and that's all magic up there. But this place it's up there. Like it's just a beautiful place, and we had all the weather too. We had super sunshine, we had like rain at night, we had cold, and it was all still great. Which I think is awesome. There was not a bad day to be had there. The morning a little sketchy sometimes. I had one bad night in the rain, but other than that, it was not that big a deal, right? Still awesome.
We'll get to that, but back to my point in hand, right? Like this was your first bigger event you attended, and I mean, and I'm excluding all like the classic and Red Crest and stuff like that, right? Kayak only. So I wanted to get your take on this. How did you what were your thoughts on the group of anglers that were there and just like the the mingle of everybody and all that good stuff?
My take is they have their game face on when they get there, and you can tell because they're nice, but they're not that friendly, because you can tell in their mind they're there to fish, right? And
sure,
they'll pump fists and all that stuff, but they're hearing you talk, but they're not listening because they've got a bigger task at hand. And sure. I get that. But you also see up at the venue at night when we had the the weigh-in or the first night, and the dinner and everybody's mingling and all that stuff. These people know each other because they're connected online, and they may have never seen that person face to face, but now they're there, and then they start to share stories, and it becomes a live event, like where they're all talking, and two people from two completely different states. Then they start talking strategy fishing, and I think that kind of an open book on what's going on the water, and it was good to see that and get that vibe from people that they were glad to be there, and meeting new people that they already knew online and face to face, and obviously get to stay with one another if they were on a boat or in one of the cabins or and I think it's just a great dynamic because you could see the just cementing the whole deal about going to Dale Hollow and being part of it, and the experience kind of I thought socially outweighed the competitive side of it, although there's that too, which I would unless you're out there on the water, you're not privy to that, but and of course they're all serious anglers or they wouldn't have made the trip, but you just see that glad to be there, group mentality and sharing stories, talking about crafts and equipment and baits and conditions on the water. And that, to me, as an outsider, the first event, seeing them talk and listening to people talk about that, it was awesome. It's a great eye opener, great experience. And I met a lot of great, fantastic people.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. No, and I figured you would say something along those lines for sure. And that's something that we always talk about, right, in the kayak fishing world. And for somebody that had never been to an event like that, I definitely wanted to get your take on it, because, me and Jay can say whatever, and, people may, not believe us because obviously we promote the event, right? But having an outside source come in and say that, especially a guy that, it doesn't go to many of these things, right? So that's super cool. But I mean,
the last event I was at live that was like a tournament setting was at ICAST last year down at Kissimmee, and I made the effort to get up in the morning, go down there, be down there at 3:30 in the morning, watch everybody start to congregate, and it's boat fishing, obviously.
Sure.
But same thing. A lot of joking around in the parking lot, wishing everybody well and all that stuff, and the meeting in the morning in the dark, and then it's on. But same thing, just different craft. But
sure.
But you don't see the after party, like the socializing part of it, because everybody goes their separate ways until the next morning. So you're not part of it. At Dale Hollow, you are part of that. You are intimately linked to the sort of the after talk, the off the water talk of what happened, and it's just great. It's just great, and a real education for me.
Sure.
And I appreciate everybody talking and talking candidly about things that happened, and it's a learning experience. And not everybody in that environment knows everything that they know. You know what I mean?
Sure. No, and it going back to that, right? Like they completely sold out of houseboat rooms. Cabins were fully booked. There was some people camping. Other people rented Airbnbs and stuff like that in the area. But for those people that were congregated at Dale Hollow, it was always like, all right, this is over. So whose boat, whose cabin are we going to hang out afterwards, And it was kind of cool because we got to see that. I mean, the Friday night, everybody was hanging out at Jeff Parrott's cabin right next to ours. And, there was folks up at the paddle and fin cabins as well. And, the houseboats and things like that. But it, like you said, it's all those people get to intermingle, right? Like, after they're off the water and they're unwinding and stuff like that. And I think that's a really special, unique aspect to the whole event, right? Because most of the time you don't get that. Everybody kind of goes their own ways and they're spread out. But with the way the marina sets up and everybody can be in one location, it's actually pretty cool. So
for sure.
I mean, we had huge shout out to Cheryl Bentley. She won the Noobs Championship last year, which bought her ticket into this event. She got to stay with all the paddle and fin hosts and pick their brain and fish with all our hosts and things like that. And she made the long drive all the way down from New Hampshire. And I remember saying goodbye to her, and she's like, "Thank you so much. This was such a great time. I had a blast. I learned a lot, and I'm just truly grateful to be able to be down here, so to speak," which was super cool to see, man. I mean, kudos to her. I mean, it took her 2 days to drive down, from New Hampshire.
By herself.
Yeah, fully loaded, and she caught some fish. She won a Tightline anchor for the furthest traveled, plus a breakaway kit. You gave her some T-shirts, a hat, and a $50 Bass Pro gift card, which was super cool, man.
Yeah. It's great to recognize people coming from a long way. Then they go back and they, in their fishing community or angling community, they talk about it, and maybe 2 or 3 other people make the trip next year, maybe as a group, right? And it only grows, right? And if they speak highly of Dale Hollow and the paddle and fin event, it just brings more people or brings more attention to it anyway. And you know, as of Monday, they had 364 days to plan to get down there. So,
right.
I guess I don't know.
That's how Thomas thinks, man.
I know, it's so funny.
It's great.
Like,
it's great.
you know, it's like his perspective. It's intuitive and yet so obvious. You know, it's where you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Like, yeah, you're right. There's
Yeah, and I always say when you leave somewhere, it's like I've got 364 days to figure out how I'm going to come back here if I had an enjoyable experience, right?
Sure.
And I stayed the extra night, and in the morning you get up and it's just like there's deer in the front yard, and it's just like nobody's there. It's just like complete dead silence, right? And it's it's worth the price of admission to go down there.
Yeah,
For
you're
sure.
pretty.
You get that experience every day, I think, unless Jimmy Skinner's around, and then
True.
the deer won't come out for obvious reasons, right?
Nope. The turkeys will, because he's one of them. So
Yeah, the turkeys like Jimmy, the deer not so much.
yeah, not so much.
Anyway,
Oh boy.
Were there really deer in the lawn when you woke up?
Yeah, that's what
Yes.
he said.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it could be for effect. You know,
no, they were right there. They were right there on the like the little gravel driveway down to the circle driveway. They're right there on that grass, right between
wow.
2 driveways and the porch and the stairs.
Man, you could just hunt right from the you know.
Yeah, I opened the front door and went out with a cup of coffee, and
Yeah,
they weren't shocked that I was there.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they bed up on that hillside right back behind the cabins.
Yeah, it probably makes sense because they know they're not going to get any pressure there whatsoever.
Yeah, it's a sanctuary for sure. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
doubt.
What's up, Cam? It was
up,
great
Cam?
great to finally meet you in person. Cam Steele came up from Faith and Fishing podcast. Super cool to get to meet him. There's so many new folks that showed up, and people like Thomas said that we've had relationships online and stuff like that, and to finally get to shake their hand and meet them in person, man. That was one I was excited about when Cam told me he was signing up. I was super excited to see that and get to meet him face to face. Tim Isaacs, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Tim was at the event as well. Tim took 9th place, so he had a heck of a tournament too. He had 86 inches day 1, 80 and a quarter day 2, grand total 166 and a quarter.
Yeah,
But
and speaking of that, Brian, the one thing my takeaway is it's kind of like racing cars on that lap. The top 10 cars are separated by fractions of a second, and as we saw the first day roll out, it was unbelievable that I think that maybe let's say the top 8 anglers, they were all right together in a group. It was so crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't, maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know, but it was just like, man, you guys are like right tooth and nail.
Yeah,
it might be a little unnerving with the next day out there, and you could get a goose egg. But to me, that was shocking because I thought somebody'd run away the first day and it'd be over, but not the case at all.
Yeah,
there was probably 15 people in the running that had a legit shot at winning.
Yeah, that excuse me, that whole top 10 were I would say even further than that, top 15 were probably pretty close. But
yeah, since my incident, my memory's kind of like not there. But
do you want to talk about that now, or should we?
No, yeah. That was like a perfect segue.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I know this is brilliant on your part.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
You want to get into it?
Yeah, well, Friday night we had our captains meeting. A lot of folks attended. We handed out some pretty cool sticker packs, courtesy of Thomas and Tightline Anchors, who kind of threw that whole thing together. But they got stickers from Tightline, Dubrow Fishing, Rocktown Adventures. There was some Pine Ridge Archery in there. East Port Marina threw some stickers in and stuff like that. So it was super cool that, folks were greeted with something right off the bat. Who doesn't love stickers, slapping them on the truck, the rod box, the beer fridge, the kayak, things like that. And we kind of gave some incentives away for slapping that on your boat and posting it on social media and things like that. But, handed that out, got everything rolling. Richard was up there, had the kegs rolling. Guys kind of hung around afterwards, and we partook in some beverages and got some great news. We knew Garrett, one of our PNF hosts, was expecting a baby, but we also found out our good friend Jimmy Skinner is now expecting to be a daddy again. So we had a nice little celebration. So that was good. And congrats to Jimmy. Everybody shoot Jimmy a message or tag him saying congratulations down in the chat. So I know he's super excited about that, and we're all excited for him. So we got to celebrate that a little bit and kind of get together, got everything set up Friday, and huge shout out to Catch. They made the engraved medallions for us for the 1st through 10th place and the 2 big bass days. And we had those on display and things like that. And then, afterwards we went back to the cabin. We were kind of hungry, and, Thomas started cooking some brats. And then the next thing you know, he's wearing the brats.
Yeah, you're going to have that. You're going to have that. You know what? I was over there. I think I was on the phone, and things got going over at, I forget his name.
Jeff Parrott's.
Jeff Parrott's cabin.
Yeah.
Like staying by himself, very dangerous dude, gets all the people in his cabin, and it's just like a frat house. And Jeff's a pretty, switched on guy. He showed up, very polite. All of a sudden, he's running a frat house next door. So I thought, I know what's going to happen here. Everybody's going to want to have something to eat. So Jay Randall had brought up some brats for us to eat the first night and just have a barbecue and all that good stuff. And I thought, well, I'll just throw those brats on. The stragglers will come wandering over when they smell it. So anyway, I go in, parboil the brats. Here's my new recipe for brats.
Lidocaine patches.
Yes. That's it.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah.
But why?
Well, that's a deep subject. They're parboiling. It starts to rain. I go out, light the barbecue, which is outside in every cabin has its own pavilion. So I go out there, light the barbecue, stand there, have a beer, watch the barbecue. Everything's good. Go back inside, get the brats, oven bit on this side, panhandle in the other hand, walk out the front door. And we're not going to mention the word Skechers because they're out. I'm wearing 2-wheel drive Crocs, beautiful wooden platform steps on this cabin, wood and rain, and a wee bit of black mold. Recipe for a stunt. I go down the stairs, slip on the 3rd stair, catch it in the rib cage on the left side, throw the pan. Now we've got brats and onions and chaos in the parking lot. I think the killer saw me from the venue next door, the frat house, comes around the truck. Are you all right? And I'm standing there. I knocked the wind out of myself. I'm like, yeah.
No. I was in our cabin and I heard.
Oh, you were? Oh boy.
And then I didn't hear anything after that. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh God, he's dead.
He's dead.
Because when you crashed the scooter at the Classic, you at least, threw out some expletives. So
with no oxygen, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. There's no oxygen. I was in an oxygen deprived environment at the bottom of the stairs. You know what I mean? I was barely able to stand up and collect myself.
Yeah, so I opened
only because I thought there'd be a flicker of cell phone images, like a bunch of high school girls walking around. But you got to stand up. Wet from the chest line down with brat sauce and onions. Probably wasn't a pretty picture, but I was just worrying if life was still in me.
Well, I didn't notice the brat sauce at first, and I said, "Are you okay?" And oh no. and then you kind of stood up, and that's when I realized, yeah, like from the chest down to your knees, just covered in some kind of liquid. Granted, it was raining, but I'm like, what was he out here trying to make rain angels instead of snow angels? He's like trying to make rain angels, and
not good.
Yeah,
not good.
So the rest of the weekend, you kind of limped ass around,
Yeah, you're gonna have that. But the good news is, I was able to pick up all the brats, pick up all the brats, put them back in the pan, take them inside, wash them, recut the onions, reboil them, and serve them. Get them on the barbecue, and it was all good deal.
Shenanigans.
And it's kind of like a stunt. The next day, you're just like, oh. Well, it wasn't the next day. That's that night.
It was that night.
Randall and I are up in the loft on the Lido deck, and I had to ask him for assistance. I couldn't even get out of bed. Had to go to the Tinklatorium. Jay's like, your palms are sweaty. I said, Jay, I think I punctured a lung. Worry about my sweaty palms, dude. I can't get out of bed.
I know you're always like, I'm popping. Like, oh, it just popped again.
Yeah. The sounds I heard in my chest were unbelievable. I thought I was really busted up, but apparently not. Apparently not. I'm back.
It wasn't that bad.
Nah.
It's just a random stunt, but the scooter went way better.
How's that bruise? Is that still there?
It's migrating around the belt line. I really took a hit on the hip.
Dang, it's like growing. That's a big bruise, man.
Yeah, and then the first stair at the bottom hit me in the side of the thigh. So now I have a bruise that's like a 2x6, like it's literally linear. Jeez. And the one on my belt line is just above the belt. That was poor planning. If I took in the belt, I probably wouldn't have it. But I got a stripe there, and then I got a stripe just under my arm. And it just looks like somebody branded me. It's just crazy. What happened to you? Oh, I slipped and fell on the stairs. That's not obvious. There they are. 1, 2, 3.
It's weird too, because if somebody were to meet you, I mean, they would think gazelle.
Oh yeah, Panther, man.
I mean, really, it's
Panther. 100% Panther.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Oh yeah, that goes with it saying. So yeah, and we got him here just for comparison. 2-wheel drive. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to 4-wheel drive. And that's not Croc's problem. That's my problem.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I have those Croc sandals and I'll usually wear them with fishing. When they get wet, they are unfun to walk in. You
know what I'm going to call them? I'm going to call them. I'm going to go a step further and call them ultra violence. Now look at me here. This is me hurt. You just showed a picture. That's me hurt, faking it. What a champion. That's me. I got the rabbit punch from Mike Tyson, and I didn't get the $1 million. And I'm still able to walk around the next day and pose with you two girls on the stage. Yeah. Unbelievable. I'm kind of proud of myself. I was able to stand up straight and fake it.
Yeah. We heard you grunting.
Oh, that was steady.
Like, what was that noise? Steady. He's like, well, I can't even do it anymore.
It's just like I'm surrounded by a buffalo following me all the way. It's got to be bad. Yeah.
This is classic. I noticed this after I got back home. Look at that face.
I know.
That's me. I'm taking a breath. That's how bad it hurt. That's how bad it hurt. I was just like between shutter shots. I'm taking another breath, and you got me on my good side there because it's the other side that's damaged goods. Oh yeah, see how I'm listing to that side like a sailboat. Like something wrong. Everybody else is standing up proper. I'm listing. I'm tightened up on the left side. Like the ropes are tight, on the left side. The right side, I'm walking on an angle.
Too funny.
No big deal. Yeah, and on the way home, I get to Chattanooga. I take the expressway in Chattanooga. I hit those 2 expansion joints. Then I see the sign for a rest area. I pull off. You know what? I pull around in the van, at the rest area, park all by my lonesome because it's not going to be pretty getting out of the van. An old lad comes up. He said, Hey, how are you doing? Are you all right? Like, you've watched me for 10 minutes. Get out of the van.
Yeah.
You know, it's lucky I didn't relieve myself in the parking lot to get back in it and just leave. No, but I made the trek up, and they always build those rest areas, and the building is always elevated, like you're supposed to walk uphill.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a
they just want you to work it out on your way up.
I would have done it. I would have rented a wheelchair to get up there. And this guy, like, what are you, brand new? I'm listening to the left. It'd take me 10 minutes to get out of the van. Oh yeah, I'm fine. Fine, yeah. Just your garden variety.
He hands you his cane.
Cane, I'd have beat him with it for just being stupid. You know what? I think I had a couple of BTUs left in me. I'd have beat him senseless with it. Get out of my effing way. I've had the Tinkletorium since Dale Hollow. And I charged myself with it. Why am I going to pull over?
Right,
just mess yourself in the van, clean it up when you get home. Who cares?
Oh, geez.
Chattanooga, I got something to talk about with that crew down there. Unbelievable, those 2 expansion joints. Killer, you hit them.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Oh,
Never going through Chattanooga, don't get in the right lane for the silly slowpokes. Stay out in the hammer lane, the left lane gang. Hammer it. Get through there. Speed. Break the law. Your back will thank you.
Paddle and Fin is not responsible for any accidents, tickets, or anything else that could occur by the recommendation of Thomas Langton for hammering it down and breaking the law in the left lane.
Left lane gang. You'll get a sticker.
The left lane gang. Yeah, that's the new MC.
Yeah, left lane gang.
Well,
but that's it. That's it in a nutshell. I don't know who ate the brats on the second go around, but they were delicious. I think I had some for breakfast. Delicious.
I did partake in one.
Hey, and listen, we're missing the most important part. Captain Obvious showed up in the morning, aka Jimmy Skinner, aka Switch, right? And he gets out of his truck. God love him. He's brand new in the morning, and he walks around his truck, and he doesn't talk. He just looks down, and he sees onion rings all over the place. Now he knows there's been a frat party at the next door, so he's thinking puke, right? He looks down at them and he announces to the world, "I thought that was puke, but they haven't been chewed." And then we had to tell him how they even got there. Like, it's just like,
as you hobbled out the front door.
Yeah. And asked for my motorcycle to be brought out. So I get some saran wrap, get back on it like Evel Knievel said, "Where's my motorcycle?" Right?
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
Not you're busted up and bleeding. Where's my motorcycle?
Well, day one results. I just wanted to go over this since we're going into Saturday here. After day one, Robert Knoll came out swinging. Him and Will Miller tied for Big Bass, and Robert Knoll had a whopping 97 1/4 inches. His biggest fish was a 21-inch smallmouth, then a 19 3/4 smallmouth, 19 1/4 smallmouth, 18 3/4 smallmouth, and an 18 1/2 as well. Charles Hark was sitting in second place with 93 1/4. Will Miller again caught a 21-inch largemouth. So Big Bass each day was what was it? It was $2,020, I believe, per day. So because these guys tied, we had to go to their second fish, and Robert Knoll had that 19 3/4, so he beat out Will Miller. But we sent Will home with some great prizes for being so darn close. Trent England sitting in fourth, Todd Yoakum fifth, Jesse England sixth, Christine Fisher seventh, Kenneth Fox eighth, ninth was Michael Ridenour with 89 inches, and then Grimsley with 87 3/4. But I mean, I just wanted to point out your top seven was over 90 inches, and then 8th, 9th, and 10th, you know, not far behind. I mean, Kenneth Fox was just outside of that. And Kenneth said he had one of his best days on the water fishing. He's the guy that won the Newport Vessels motor last year for skunking. And so what I mean, I remember announcing his name after day one. He went from 0 to hero in this event, you know. Last year, just couldn't buy a bite. This year, he just came out swinging, had a 19 and a quarter and a bunch of 18 to 17 inch fish in between. So that was super, super cool. There's his 18 and a quarter or 19 inch fish there. Big old overlipped largemouth. But I mean, and then I mean this 21 inch smallmouth was pretty spectacular as well. Just a football. But yeah, man, it was pretty spectacular to see all the great fish that came across the board. Obviously, we had some weather roll in Saturday night again in a cold front and things like that, so it switched it up for Sunday. Some people that were up there at the top didn't do as well day two, but you know, I mean, it's one of those things, adapt into those situations, right? And let me get that pulled back up here. But I know Christine Fisher struggled on day two. Her fish just kind of went away. Same thing with Kenneth Fox, things like that. But Robert Knoll did not disappoint. He won Big Bass again, day two, with a 21 and a half inch smallmouth. I mean, look at that thing. It's
unbelievable.
Just porky. You know what I mean? And
wow.
And that was the thing too. You'll notice he's in a Jackson Liska, no electronics, was paddling, just found some bedded fish. He also had a 21 and a quarter as well. And that was a largemouth. So, I mean, 100 and a quarter inches. Todd Yoakum had 90 and a half. And that was the only two that broke 90 inches that day. But Michael Grimsley had a better day, 88 and a quarter. Charles Hark, 88 and 3/4. J.W. England, 87 and a quarter. Jesse England. Andrew Carpenter, who didn't even crack that top 10 day one, came out swinging from Ohio. Same thing with Brad Neer, Will Miller, Daniel Arsenal. Brian Slayton, I know, did something a little different. He floated the West Fork. He dropped in up off the main road and floated down. He said that he had done that during practice, which was super cool, and not very many people had done that. I know he had to find service, but, you know, you look at it, the top 16 were 80 inches and better. So, I mean, compared to past years, it was a good move, I think, moving the event back later in the month of April, just by looking at some of the bags that were caught across the board. I mean, your top 20 had a limit, and then it starts to go down from there. But, I mean, Michael had a great day one, and then day two, his fish just disappeared on him, and he struggled a little bit. Logan DuPois came back a little bit. Christine Fisher only had one fish. Day two, same thing with Bill Jenkins. And we had a few people just put up goose eggs as well. So it was tough, a tougher bite day two if you weren't on them. I know the folks that were on the main lake did a little bit better, just because that weather, that cold front didn't affect them as much. But man, what a heck of an event, and what a showing for Dale Hollow Lake, you know, that all these anglers put up.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And I think, you know, and it's kind of like you mentioned, you know, when you were showing like Noel's pictures, you know, when he said that he went out that second day, he had no electronics and all that. I mean, it was just like a bare bones kayak, you know, just like you're doing a drift or whatever. I mean, he played to his strengths. And I think it's important to realize that, like, you know, it's pretty much anyone's game. You don't need all the fancy stuff. Is I think some people would think, you know, you can break it down to the basics and still make a killer showing. Granted, there's got to be a lot of things aligned for that, but I mean, there a lot of knowledge was built into that too. But I mean, you just got, I would just say don't let it deter you if you're ever thinking about going in any of these tournaments. Don't think just because you don't got the Hobie, you don't got the new NAR, you don't have a fabulous, pedal kayak or something with a huge motor, or a huge motor, what am I saying? But, fast motor and, you don't need all that. I mean, if you just kind of basically, I would say start with what you know and then build from there, get a little knowledge, try some things out, and be willing to adapt.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just it, right? Like how many events have we all seen where a guy in a Pelican or something like that with no gear just takes home the W?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. And I mean, Nola had such a man. That second day was nuts. Just nuts.
Yeah. Hey, let's not forget Tiger Woods can go on any golf course in the world and get a set of rental clubs out of the clubhouse and probably break the course record. It's not about the equipment, it's about the knowledge and and how to use it, right? And I think that's prevalent because that fellow had nothing and he was able to go out there and just do what he knew.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
His follow through was there.
Yeah.
He was consistent. And those guys have, those people, those anglers have serious mental strength and they know what they know. Right?
Oh yeah.
Whether they fished it before, pre-fished it or didn't, they just read the environment, right? Well, kind of like I should do with wet stairs.
Yeah, This just in. Tightline anchor and notifications with Crocs to wear at ICAST 2023. Do you have any insight on that, sir?
Well, it just, I know that Skechers were disappointed with the last stunt at Knoxville at the Bassmaster. They're back online, but I think now that Crocs want to get me upfitted because they stayed on my feet, and that's what they asked me because they know that Skechers didn't, and they want to get me in some 4x4s for ICAST. So I think it's going to happen. It's just, sponsorship talks are long and arduous, but we're working toward it. Yeah, I'm thinking.
I like that.
4x4s is the way to go.
I like that. Cam Steele in the chat, he says, as fun as the fishing was, breakfast Sunday was the highlight of the trip for sure. I got to say, breakfast was pretty epic Sunday morning. I mean, biscuits and gravy. Thank you, Sam, finally.
Leftover burritos from all the anglers
that chose
not to do that.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Silly.
Sinning right there, not going down and getting those beautiful burritos. And I didn't get the biscuits and gravy. I went back to the burrito stack 2 days in a row.
2 days in a row. Maybe that was the cause of your accident, burritos.
They didn't hold me down. If anything, they picked me up. They gave me that little punch in the right side of the rib cage to keep going.
I like that. John Rapp in the chat. I mean, Jay Randall.
Yeah.
Were you disappointed with his performance in his cooler this year?
No.
I was, because he was very light on the cooler this year. He wasn't as pushy as he was in years past.
Hey, listen, just a little update. I think a little Jimmy's got his red cooler.
Yeah, he does. He actually posted in the group chat that I forget where he had it the other day, but he's been traveling around with the red cooler.
Is it for sale, or they're just going to do an online auction?
Yeah,
I don't know.
He walked out of the house. He walked out of the house like a schoolboy on Christmas morning, and he said, "I've got the red cooler." And he danced down to his truck like a wee little leprechaun and put it in there. I'm like, "Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go." Right? I just radio silence, not even paying attention, not going to give him any fuel. John, I don't know what's going on there, dude, but
he was very, very proud that he was going home with the red cooler.
It was like I just went in John's shit and got it, and he wasn't.
That must have still been out back, huh? Like in the morning or something.
Yeah, and Jimmy's walking away like it's Christmas morning. Look what I've got, like a little schoolgirl. Yeah. I'm like, oh,
Well,
John's probably driving home. Whaley gets wind of that.
I'm pretty sure
I get wind of it.
The value of that thing depreciated. Now it's in a different owner's hands.
Well, I don't know. John's got a
market
reputation there.
Yeah,
I don't think he messes around with that red cooler. I'm just surprised it got out of his.
He's like, that's my red cooler.
Kind of like,
I brought it from home.
like the brats going down the stairs. It got out of my hands, but I understand.
So I want to pop this image up on the screen, and I want to get your guys' take on this because we were approached by Richard and Wendy at East Port with this idea, but we had the top 10 on the stage, you know, for the final day, and we had the rockets, flares. I don't know what you guys want to call them, but it was super cool, and I think it caught everybody by surprise when we did it because we didn't. There was only a few of us in on it, and it was super cool, man. And just to see those guys' reaction and kind of treat it as like a big stage thing, you know. I thought those guys thought it was really cool, and it caught them by surprise. What was your guys' thoughts on that? John Raps in the chat. He said fireworks were awesome.
I thought it was pretty cool. It's definitely different. I mean, I think the only thing that could pretty much even come near it is, or we could come near is like the, you know, one of the Bassmaster Classics type, you know, situations at the end of, you know, the weigh-ins and all that, the excitement. Yeah. And I think everyone was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know,
nobody realized what it was at first, you know, and then as they caught on, they were like, you know, all that good stuff. Cam Steele says, I have fished harder if I knew there were going to be pyrotechnics.
Yeah.
So
Right.
there you go. That's a proper name for it, pyrotechnics. But it was super cool, man. And it was cool to give those guys that stage and that spotlight like that. You know what I mean? And I mean, I was super jazzed and excited to be able to be part of that. You know what I mean? And just, you know, we've always tried to treat this like a big event, you know what I mean? Like that Bassmaster Classic stage. And I think that's part of it, right? That's why guys come back every year, you know, is just for that fact. But, you know, seeing those 10 guys that fish their hearts out to get there and then just kind of giving them that celebration was super cool in my book.
Yeah, if anything, I could say, Killer, it would be like if you had a side venue where you could interview them and ask them specifically, you know, in a podcast format, like live, like, you know, at an odd time, how did it go today? And get them to sit in that chair and talk to you candidly, you know, and before dinner, or, you know, as they come in and register.
Sure.
Oh, sorry, register, check in,
yes.
And then get them in the hot seat. And you know, it's casual, but get them to explain their day in so many words, like, you know, not any, you know, in depth. But I think then they, you know, the feeling would be, this is dead serious because you're only going to interview the top 10, right? Because you're going to give them a couple of minutes. That's
sure,
you know, that's a half an hour of time, but they've been selected because they are there, right? And I got to go and do this. This is awesome, but it's live, right?
Yeah,
and it's like. You're tracking, you know, their performance and their knowledge and what they thought of the environment, the day, and the venue, right?
So I know John Rapp did that briefly the one day. He was pulling people in and getting their take, and I think that was Friday before we did the whole captain's meeting, so to speak. But I just want to point out, where was this idea when we were there and we could have made that happen? I mean,
well,
you're a little late to the punch now, bro.
It's a smart attack, but it's as a sponsor of the event, standing back and not participating, I see continuous improvement.
John Rapp did point out we did something like that in years past, and we didn't get that accomplished this year. But
and John's a great candidate to get him involved and on a, you know, on a sidebar away from that main control panel, just back of the stage and order right there and get John to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He knows all the relevant questions to ask. And when he's not drinking, and or if he is, I don't care. Right?
John, you're hired.
I think it's great.
We'll discuss your salary somewhere down the road.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too funny.
Way down the road.
And get Beth there as his assistant, like Tim the Toolman Taylor, and it's awesome. Yeah. Right? I think it would be awesome. That is a whole show in itself.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No, I think it's a great thing. And then if you placed, you have to give some sort of commentary back, and every angler is going to listen to that too because they're in the room, and you get your post race interview for that day, right? I think it's good. It keeps people engaged. It keeps people, if you can't make the tournament, they're like, okay, let me just see what I online I saw how everything worked out. Let me see what they say because I know that angler. I know her. I know him.
Nicholas Beltran, we hope you're well too, man. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Jesse England says, hoping to get an interview next year. That means day one went well. But Jesse always does good. I think from the first one he's cashed a check every year. And he progressively gets better. So maybe that means next year there's going to be a line in Vegas plus 250 for Jesse England taking home the W.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. John Rapp laughed at your drinking comment there.
I just think it's awesome. It's total awesomeness.
Total awesomeness.
It's excellence. It's just excellence at a whole different level.
Yeah.
Other than hearing your Cummins start in the morning.
Yeah.
Totally,
right.
Just above that.
Well, we're winding down, boys. Thomas, I will let you kick us off with some final thoughts, final words of wisdom. We appreciate you jumping on tonight, man. And we definitely appreciate you showing up to the event and supporting all these guys and, throwing some unique things into the mix by letting guys demo anchors, things like that, man. It was really cool of you to do that.
Thank you very much. And I believe me, Jay and Killer, I appreciate being asked to show up and get involved in the event on behalf of Tightline Anchor. I appreciate everybody that made the colossal effort to even get there and take time out of their busy schedules, their lives, and get there and participate. And I enjoyed talking with everybody there and meeting new individuals. And of course, showcasing the product, and maybe they haven't seen it, in their hand, but they walked away with some knowledge. And shameless plug, we're going to have the River Anchors going to be released, I think, next week. So
nice
things come. And I know a lot of people saw the Killers version and the other version. And we're excited about that, but we were excited to be there. We love the whole crew at East Port, Richard and Wendy and Nathan and Lee. Everybody was super stellar. If you can't make it next year, shame on you. You've got more than 360 days to figure your shit out and get down there. It's awesome. Even if it's just a vacation, put the boat in the water, do some casual fishing, because that's what these two yo-hos did. I don't even know what they do.
I did enter the tournament, and
you bought all this stuff to do that. I could have fished off the dock and fished all the boathouses and caught more than you two clowns.
Wow.
But anyway, that's all good.
Wow.
Get down there.
Wow.
Get down there. Get down there. And by the way, if you're even in the area, go to East Port.
Yeah.
Just stop in for breakfast.
Yeah.
If you're driving through that area on a family vacation, go down and have breakfast.
Yeah.
What's her name that makes the breakfast there, the manager?
Sam.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable breakfast. She's a great cook and a great host and a great asset to East Port Marina. That's all I've got to say.
Agree. 100%.
Enjoyed it 150,000%. I enjoyed it because G wasn't there. And that's a whole other story.
Well, that
he's a ghost now. He's a ghost. He's not even.
I was going to say, if one person should be there next year, who should it be?
G. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know if his stunting's going to allow him to be there. He could be smashed up worse than I am, but
you can't be at East Port Marina if you're in Nova Scotia.
True.
Hey,
Just saying.
hey,
Mr. Randall, final thoughts.
It's good seeing you, Tom.
thanks, Jay. I love your truck, dude.
Yeah, thanks. Me too.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. After the stunt, I don't know if I love you or just being shuttled around in your truck.
Yeah, I know. You were kind of a fixture in the inside of the truck.
Yeah, and now when you get in there, it's like you have stuntman syndrome, so you can tell them how to drive and what to do, right? Because it's awesome. Oh, there's a bump. Oh,
yeah.
And
I know.
Down, right?
Yeah.
I know normally he'd just roll through there like a logging truck. He wouldn't give a shit.
Every now and then I take my foot off the brake.
He looks over. He said, "Yeah, I got the white Susie in my truck." Yeah,
it's funny.
No big deal. I appreciate Jay. I appreciate you putting up with my shenanigans, Brian. I don't care what you think. All good. I enjoyed myself thoroughly.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Nah, it was a good time out there, man. And everybody that came out and fished, that thanks for coming out. It was good seeing all you guys. Some new faces, some old faces. Of course, East Port Marina will be there shortly. Once again, in less than
for a wedding on a Thursday.
That's right. Yeah,
but on a Thursday.
What? Yeah, but it's followed by
on
fishing.
A holiday weekend.
It's followed by fishing.
Like Thursday on a holiday weekend,
followed by fishing. Just keep saying it with me.
I don't even know who does that.
Yeah, I don't understand it. You know who that does that? Some tightwad. But I want to just say thank you, everybody who showed up. I hope everybody had a great time at the event. Again, just echoing what these guys said, it was great to see all your faces and shake hands, have conversations, share the water, hear all the fish stories, give away thousands of dollars and prizes, and just everybody having a good time, working together, and all the other good stuff. Shout out to the whole Paddle and Fin crew, those that showed up, those that couldn't make it. It was super cool to have you guys all there, be a part of the event, and just help out. We definitely huge thank you to Richard, Wendy, Sam, Lee, Nathan, everybody. I mean, there's so many people down there.
Don't forget Captain.
Captain, for all the hospitality, taking care of all of our anglers. I know they ran out of houseboat rooms. Richard found another cabin, got that rented out, so guys had places to stay. The food was amazing. Every year they just do a phenomenal job. Thank you, Sam. And we just appreciate everybody and their support. Thanks everybody that posted on social media about the event, and just helping spread the word and continuing this thing to grow every year into a bigger and bigger event. And we just look forward to the growth over the coming years, from now until I can't stunt anymore like Thomas.
Well, that's a whole, I don't even know if you could pick it up. You can't pick it up.
Right? I can't.
iCast is right down the road. And I just want to say Tightline will be there next year, bigger and better than ever. Hopefully G can make it. If he can't, we're gonna sponsor more and help grow the event, and we'll do a pre-sponsorship so everybody knows way ahead of time what's at stake. Because
nice.
People really, the people that showed up, the anglers that showed up, gave it their all.
Yeah,
and we want to make it a more memorable experience and help grow the Paddle and Fin event at Dale Hollow.
Yeah.
And thank you very much, you guys, for inviting me.
No. We appreciate you showing up, man. I mean, otherwise it would have been a pretty boring weekend. We wouldn't have had any entertainment.
That's a freebie, right? There's going to be stitches, bleeding, or there's no ambulance though.
Yeah. No ambulance.
Just deal with it. quick clot and fix yourself up on the tailgate.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Right.
Thanks, everybody. Those tuning in on the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Those watching live, we're here every Thursday night.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Where's 9.5 inches? I still got your anchor, buddy. You didn't show up at East Port. Still got it.
Oh, man.
Still got it.
Shout out to Canadian Jay Brown. Yeah.
It's got some miles on it now, bitches.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next week. We're here every Thursday night, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 5 o'clock out on the West Coast. As always, boys and girls, Tightlines.
Thank you, anglers.
Peace.